Ostro Master Lee.
And Lulu.
All right, want to check out this song from Oliver Anthony called I've Got to Get Sober. And I'll tell you, if you go back and listen to a lot of his songs, the title speaks truth about like what he was going through. It's just straight to the point. I got to get sober. And he was at that point where he realized he got to get sober. Just like his other song, I ain't got no freaking money.
I ain't got dollars.
I ain't even got a dollar to his name. And now he's blowing up. He's become so big, Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, and I heard you.
Yeah, I was listening to it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It was a really great interview.
And I can't even recognize that it was him because his
he
voice
has a
was
very
different.
distinct voice. Which sounds different than his singing voice. But, I think the really fascinating thing about what he was talking about was it wasn't just like hearing his thoughts, but the evolution of his thinking. Like for a guy who at one point was not only had to have money, but was drinking all the time, was doing too much of that kind of stuff, and just his life was just passing away. And he just woke up and realized he has a lot of self-awareness, I think, which is really important, especially for a guy who, doesn't have an education. And I think, one of the big things that he could have easily fallen victim to, especially when you got politicians involved and people from the extreme right and extreme left pulling on you left and right, trying to inject their thoughts onto you. He was very strong-willed about like, honestly, this is what I really believe. And I see that happening. And I want to be honest with you, all right? Y'all can co-opt my song, but this is what it really means, all right? And it's all you politicians who are trying to woo me, you are the problem to begin with, all right? He was very clear about that.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it was really insightful because the hallmark of someone who's intelligent isn't whether or not you finished the education system in this country, right? But can you think through logically about like what's wrong and what's right as you get more information? Does that change your view?
Yeah, I finished and I'm still clueless.
Yeah.
He's smart.
I didn't want that conversation to turn that way, but yes, that's a pretty good
No, I'm just giving them an example. All right, let's listen to his story.
By the way, if you want to hear some wicked wild stories, you can check out my channel.
And if you want some hotness, check out my fantasy show. Wait, he can play left and right?
Did he switch?
Yeah.
It might have been the camera's flipped.
Oh.
Well, the life we've been given and the way we've been living, just a song that we write till we die. Now some people write songs on living just right, but I write mine on just getting by. And I'll go on a whim, start writing a hymn that sounds so sweet. But the troubles and the sin of the world that we're in knock me back off my feet. I gotta get sober, I gotta start living right. I don't know how it's gonna go, but it ain't gonna happen tonight. So pour 'em down strong till I drown. And if I wake up tomorrow when that sun comes back around, I'll be wishing I was sober.
Oh my God, when he sings,
I know.
he channels.
Like, I love how he's like.
It's like channeling something deep inside of him. Like, because his singing voice so different from his talking voice.
I agree with you. Like his voice is just way different when he's talking. I think a lot of artists are like that. Some of them likes to create their own signature when it comes to singing.
Yeah, I think for him, he's definitely channeling something because he talks about this before. It was actually a really interesting revelation, which I'll share at the end of the song. But like, yeah, I think I know where it's coming from. This groundswell, where like that emotion and that twang that he's pouring into this.
Mm.
Well, the liquor and the bowl, they've been saving my soul from the pain that the world's put on me. And Lord, I know that upstairs there's an old man who cares, and one day he'll set me free. I'll go on a whim, start writing a hymn that sounds so sweet. But the troubles and the sin of the world that we're in knock me back off my feet. I gotta get sober, I gotta start living right. And I don't know how it's gonna go, but it ain't gonna happen tonight. So pour 'em down strong till I drown. And if I wake up tomorrow when that sun comes back around, I'll be wishing I was sober. Well, the life we've been given and the way we've been living, just a song that we write till we die.
Whoa. You need to be sober.
That's why I don't drink, baby.
Yeah,
I was
me
talking
too.
to walls in college. I remember that one night. And I'm like, I'm never getting this drunk again. And that was it. I also get the Asian glow where I turn really red. And then I stopped drinking then. And then maybe right after college, actually I was still drinking through college, but it was right after college that I became allergic to a lot of different kinds of alcohol. And that's when I went cold turkey and haven't missed it since.
The way he sings is very emotional.
Yeah.
From the gut.
Very,
out.
like he puts it all out there to a point where he almost pushes a limit where he's like, it sounds like he's losing control. You know how someone becomes so emotional that like there's either anger or groundswell that you lose the kind of tonal quality of control. But in his case, it sounds better because there's that emphasis of the way he sings that it adds more, especially to that like folksy music that he sings. Yeah, I was saying like how I ended up finding out that I think he is channeling someone, like his grandfather. Because when he decided to create this channel and really started to like make music his thing, he didn't go by his name. His name is not Oliver Anthony. That's his grandfather's name.
Oh, I think yeah.
And so, and the reason why he decided to do that is because like he loved that kind of music that harkens back to his grandfather's days. And that for him is like a memory of something. So when he's speaking, it does sound different than when he is singing, which is funny because there's some people who want to like just hate him whether on the left or right. But some people are like, man, he ain't really country. He's just totally making up that twang. And I'm like, that's not the point here. The point is the dude is absolutely country. Trust me, from an Asian dude who grew up in the country, and I listen like, dude country, all right? You look at him, he country. But when he sings, he is generating a different sound because that's the sound that he loved hearing growing up. I think that's what makes it so beautiful. You don't hear that kind of sound that often anymore.